Meeting is being recorded.
Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. So the updates were about some changes in the designer, and I may have some huge scenario for creating an action, which is the main thing of creating doing the work on designer. So let's get started. From the first time the user will join the designer of a package. Okay, so for the first time the user will click the designer button of a package. You will the page will load to the screen, and the user will have four options to choose from. The old scenario was to select the type of action he wanted to answer, which is whether it's a custom action or he can import it. And the last option we added is to pick from a default package actions, and the other options we were I think we were holding of how to handle it as long as it will load a huge of data, which of how to implement it from the backend. So I divided I make them and four options. This is the custom. Yeah.
Are you sharing the screen yet?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed to share my screen. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a look of the new designs before our meeting?
I took a look at it. I did have a question on this. So does this replace our package view, not view, selection? On the
Changes the
left-hand
scenario.
side, you know how we had the default package?
Yeah. The old one was we were pushing the designer, the user of the designer, into a screen which full of options to select, and he don't know how to start doing the things on the designer. So and we had an import question that how to guide a new user, how to implement and use how to implement an action and use a designer. So it's just like I'm giving him a guidance to a step by step to use of how to use the designer. So first thing I use him the option he can choose from to create an action. And as you can see here, the blank action is the old one as custom actions. I see that blank is maybe a more common word for an empty action or an empty screen that user will create it from the scratch. So I replace the custom to a blank.
Instead of blank, should we just say new action?
It's a new, but yeah, maybe a new or blank, but maybe blank is merging the custom and the new and an empty one. That's why I use it the blank, and I see it common in multiple applications that are creating a thing from by the user settings. We can maybe use it the new.
Yeah, maybe like create custom new, action, or I don't know if the blank is. I think we can get feedback. But I don't know if blank is the right word to use here.
Okay. Okay, and the second option was the default actions. this is for the default package. You were mentioning that that has a multiple of actions that are presetted. As you can see here, I gave some information about this section. Okay, and this is the one we were holding the discussion about. You mentioned that it will be a huge loading of actions from all the packages, and this is how I thought it's a need to use other actions that that the user used, but we have a problem that it will load massive of maybe it will take time to load the whole packages and actions that the user used. So I get it to just to use the recent actions, and I see that most of application are using 25 recent files, and we can use it the same scenario they used to import just only the last and the recent 25 files the user used. I mean 25 actions, not files.
So this recent actions is for the latest packages, right?
The recent actions.
It should be for the latest packages that have been created. Let's say you have 1,000 packages. You don't know which one is the recent action, right? The only thing you know is what are the recent packages, and for those recent packages, you can present the recent actions.
Okay, but yeah, you have a point, but it's about how to do the recent action of a package, but the thing is how to choose an action from the packages. We will load the recent packages, and then the user will need to look for a specific action of this package, or maybe multiple actions of this package.
You might even have this like same two different packages with same action, right? You don't want to, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Do you mean that maybe two packages use the same action?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so as I mentioned, maybe we can use a recent packages, and then user can select what action he wanted to use. Actions, yes, he can select one or more of actions.
Okay.
Import action or actions. This is to upload from the user PC.
So one question, before you had this selection on the left-hand side, right? So what happens to that menu? The left-hand side menu, what happens to that?
We can get this later of the scenario. I'll show the flow first, and then you can discover it from the comment screen.
Okay.
I'll move through the four options we have here. As long as each action or each option have a specific flow. So this is how the user can choose one of the options by hovering on any option of the four options. You will load to a button for the blank action. This is where the user gets. And this is what one of the issues we had before that you mentioned that we need to change the default name of an action, the custom actions. So I am forcing the user to give it a name first before he change it, he use it. As long as he may insert it and he didn't change the name any time later.
So my general question is, I see you have create blank action. So what about the function attributes on the right-hand side? Isn't that gonna control the action name?
Yes, but we were inserting a custom action and give it a default name, and maybe user won't rename it for a specific name later, or maybe he forgot to rename it.
Okay, so here you're just letting them create the action name, but on the right-hand side, on the function name, you'll also give them the capability to change this function name.
Yeah, it will remain in the action. This is naming the action, not the function.
Yes, the workflow attributes, I should say, the action attributes.
Yeah, it will still remain in the action attributes. Okay. So once he typing a name, this action and this button will be active, and start will load to the canvas.
Very good.
Then to select from the default package. This is will give him the default actions. And you mentioned that there is a version of a default package. Will we have another default package but in different versions?
Not at action level, package level, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for the package. So as you can see here, I have a version, so I that we may have different versions of the default package, so user can select what he wanted, and the list will change according to the version. And this is listing the action of this default package, and user can look for action name by searching in this box. And of course, he can select one or more of actions to use.
So this should be tied to a specific package, right? Where do you see the package name?
But this is for, I think we have.
Okay. Can we just say what the package name here as well, so that we know it's default package? Oh, you have it here, the SDC default, CDS default package. Okay, never mind.
So they will, all versions will be on this of the CDS default package, but the difference between them is the version. So I think we won't change the naming of this title.
Yeah, it's fine.
By selecting the action, he will start, and again he will go to the canvas with the canvas contains the selected action here. For the recent actions, and I think we can change this later. My scenario, of course, but here I am specific. I adding the specific package name and the version, and the last time the user opened this, we mentioned the time, and he can sort it according to the recent time, or maybe the ups and down of the recent time, earlier and older time.
So Sarah, once he clicks on start, what happens? Does that go into the graphical panel, or does it go to the on the left-hand side menu?
No, the canvas directly.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, Yuri, I wanted to specify to declare something that each option will have only one option of these options, not all the options at the same time.
Can you repeat that, please?
I mean, the user cannot choose more than one option of these options at the same time.
Right. So he does one option. We load it to the canvas. He can select this
He
again
can
and
use the other, and he can use the other options again from the canvas.
yeah, that makes sense. And how do you get to this menu itself, Sarah? That's the one part it's not here.
Do you mean in this type or maybe later?
No, the main menu. How do you get to that main menu? What?
You mean
Yes.
by clicking the designer button? Let me wait. The designer and the package configuration or package view.
Okay, but so you're saying the default view will have that. So the default view will not show us the functions, the canvas with functions and
These options are this scenario that I was moving through. This is for the first time the user add a package, an action to this package. So in
right.
case if the user insert an action and he get back to the package view and click on the designer mode button, it will load directly to the canvas, not this option, unless the canvas is empty.
Right. So if the canvas is not empty, how do I get to this menu?
This menu from the canvas itself.
From the canvas in the designer screen, is there a way I can get to this menu?
Yes. So I kept scenario before and after using the canvas. You'll get to see it in a few minutes.
Okay, very good. Please proceed.
And lastly, and of course, you can see here we have a back button, so user can go back to these options. And the last one will load the upload and import package. Sorry. Action. So user can import the action or actions and just go back and go to the canvas directly. So user, what is the type of action file?
So keep it zip for now, and it should be similar to a package. So a package will have a set of actions. If you import those a package, you'll just load all the actions for that package.
Okay. So after selecting the option of what type of actions, and of course this is the first time. So this is our canvas. I added some guidance here. So the canvas will load in an undimmed screen and show how user how to use the canvas and how to create a flow.
So in this case, right, let's say they selected the blank, right? They put they selected a blank.
Yeah.
They put the config
Give it a
assign as
name.
the action name, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You see that now you get to this menu, right?
Yes. So as you can see here, we have the actions. Maybe I'll cover this. This is the list of our actions.
Oh, this is a new design. Okay.
Okay. And of course, he can search search the actions and maybe select from the list, and he can add a new action from here.
So this is very good. So let me ask you, when he clicks on new action, does he get that menu?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's
So
the
yeah.
driver now.
As I mentioned, we are in our new scenario. I kept the flow of to create how to create and choose the type of action the same as the first time.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
So
So
he,
on the first time, he don't have this menu items. It's only one item.
right.
Okay. And as you can see here, the functions. And I removed the old one that has a list of actions as long as I kept only the button to select from. I'm here, I am saving some spaces for other important elements.
Yeah, no, this is very good. The only question is, do you want to say new action or new select from action menu or that plus?
No, the plus is giving us the four options we have.
It's the menu. Okay, okay. All right, this is good.
Yeah, and I kept here a button to help.
Mm-hmm.
But this is will need time to create, as it will be like an FAQ, and maybe have our demo video and maybe some guidance and tutorials of how to use the
Right, it could be a link to read the docs or a video or yeah, this is very good.
Okay, so let's get back for the first screen. So the first screen is going directly. Let me go back to the screen. As you can see here, this is the action attributes for the current unselected actions. As you can see here.
Right.
Okay. And again, here are on the worker flow directly, and we have the template here. And I the redo and undo and the view size and the view switching between the designer and scripting and the same part, the space. As you can see here, we have plenty of our canvas.
Yep.
So the first guidance here is this is how I mentioned that you are creating a workflow. So the first step is to select the start. This is the start button. And then directly select the start and making this the function box is appearing and the first step and the first component of the workflow won't have any specific type of a flow that we were mentioning before, the success or maybe failure or maybe imperative flow. So the user will add, and of course it will need a failure flow from the. That's what I was thinking. So am I right of view? You won't have failure flow from the beginning.
Yes, you are right.
Okay. So
Yep. The only thing is the shadow. This should be supposed to be like a shadow box, right?
yes, and it will fade away after implementing the steps. So if I on the screen, I don't have I cannot go anywhere, or maybe I don't know. Do you think we need to add a skip button so user can go directly to the action name and action attribute?
I mean, he has to be able to toggle between this and the action name, action attributes, right?
It's an option. If he just to skip, he won't. He cannot go back to the guidance. This is only a guidance.
Oh yeah, you can definitely skip this. You don't need this. Doesn't need to be. You should be able to skip this.
But this will appear only of the first time the user using the designer of any packages. So in
Right.
case if he created another package after this package and go to the designer, this guidance won't appear.
Okay, that's
So
okay.
we can keep the skip button. The control. I think we need to add it. Okay. So if he kept going and following the steps, the next one after he select the start, this is the empty function box that user will drag a component to it or a function to it. So the guidance here is to drag and drop a function from this tab, and by selecting the start, this tab will be the active tab. As you can see here that we have here the action is the active tab. Once the user select the start and the function box will appear, the function tab will be the active tab.
And on the right hand side, you should have the function attributes as the active box.
But we don't have any specific function that is selected.
No. Once they drag it, right?
Yeah, it's appearing here. You can see here.
Yeah. So I just want to say, once they drag it on the right hand side, that function attribute should be the enabled for them to edit.
Yeah, it's implemented here.
Okay, good.
So once the user drag and drop a component or a function to this box, the function attributes will appear below the guidance. But the important thing that we need to go through, and of course that you can see here that we have the end button that the end step that will appear after adding the first function, and this function will be selected, and
So,
the next, yeah.
can I ask a question? Can the end box be black box?
I think I used it, but I thought that it will be similar to the dark blue, the dark navy blue we are using. But let me. Like this one?
Yes, and should the start be green?
Okay. Okay. Be like.
Right. So I just because this is similar to what the tasker is representing today, that the start is green and end is black,
Yeah.
and I wanted to keep it consistent at least. And if you want to
Important.
make that function not be dark blue but something else, that's also okay.
Okay. I just kept it to the application theme, color theme.
Okay.
Okay.
And the only other thing I wanted to say is that the shadow workflow, should it be something like, just a comment, it should be something like this? Can I show you?
Yeah, please.
You see how I have it here?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, so it seems like it's an empty box instead of having color inside of it.
This is before or after adding the function?
This is before when you add it, then the color inside this is fulfilled.
Okay. Okay, let me try.
I wanted to see if we can make it like empty, not, something like that. You can take presentation as well.
Yeah, okay. Okay, like this one.
Can you make a little bit like those lines more visible? Yeah, like that.
I'll apply it to the other function blocks, empty. Okay. So once the user drag the function to the function blocks, this menu will appear that have the flow types, but it's in a fade status, so user can neither select one of the flow to add another flow, or maybe he can go back to the function attribute or the canvas itself.
Right. Even what do you think it'll be helpful to say drag a component or drag a function in that shadow box?
Yeah, this is this here.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
So this is how when user click on a flow type on one of the flows, you can see here where the fading background are gone, and we are live on the canvas. So the user here selected the success flow, and of course, if he hovering on any of the types, the name will change. And another one, so a success flow, and the box, of course, again will appear. And once he drag and drop the function to the box again, and it is selected, and the flow types appear also on the top of the box.
So is the flow types only appearing when the the function is fulfilled, or is it also appearing when you have a shadow component?
No, it's appearing only of when the box is fulfilled with the function.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Can you capture that as a note somewhere?
What?
Do you want to capture that as a note? The
For
flow.
the user?
No. For the development team, do we want to capture that? Because I don't know if it's clear that the flow types appears only if the function is fulfilled.
Okay. But in the design here, you don't see the flow types appear, and of course it when the component is selected. So if this is how I this component. So if I wanted to add a flow, so maybe a success, this will be implemented or inserted below the success flow. If I selected the NF component, NF account, it will be below the NF account. So it will be related to the selected box or selected function.
Okay.
And of course, the start button. If I once I'm adding one component to the workflow, the start will be can be selected to insert a success. But in the start, I think we need to give the user only the success flow type, not other types.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So, and as you can see here, that's stating that this is the success flow. And this scenario, the user is going back to the NF account collection to add another success flow from the start. So we'll have imperative flow from starting from the worker flow. So this is going to be no, sorry, I'm sorry, this is below the NF account collection. So here the user added another success flow. This is will run together at the same time.
Hey, Sarah, can you make those lines a little bit stronger that are connecting the boxes?
Like darker like this.
Yes.
Okay, I'll change it. So here the user selecting the execute to the execute component to, and he selected to insert an imperative flow. As you can see here, the two there's two boxes that will be filled with the functions. One for a success step and the other for the failure flow. Will be a scroll bar.
Just one thing. It should the arrows you have, they should all be pointing to end. It should not go into a single arrow.
So in the failure state is it should go to the end step.
Yes, all of them should. All those use cases go to the end state.
Oh, okay. I see. So the user kept dragging and drop and keep and making the workflow. How he added a full workflow, maybe, and of course he can add more. Okay, so here are the workflow, and this is for the template. That the component may require a capability of another component, but the other components may have multiple capabilities that are supporting multiple components at the same time, and maybe all capabilities may support one component. So as you can see here, I defined that NF account collection requires a capability of netconf or resconf of the netconf device component. And execute required a capability of versconf from the netconf device. And of course, these are just examples. And I think they are not in the right conditions, but this is to show the case of how we may have multiple capabilities that are supporting multiple components at the same time.
The only comment I have is, should we, instead of putting what blue means, right? Can we do the same thing like you have in the red?
They are here.
Yeah, I know you those are requirements and capability. But my question is, that blue right now, the only way we know what it is because you have connected it to either a netconf or RESTconf, right? So can we actually, because that component definition of what is the requirement is provided to you. Can you display that similar to how you display it as netconf and RESTconf? What I'm trying to say, can you see how on the right hand side you have netconf and RESTconf? Can we do the same thing for the function components?
This one?
Yes, on this box. on these boxes, right? And we display the requirements
so-
similar how you have. And then you link it like, it should be the same thing. It should be a reflection of,
the component that required a capability to be employed.
no, what you have is fine. The only thing I'm saying is that I like what you did on the right-hand side, how you displayed the capability on the bottom, right?
Mhm.
I was saying netconf and restconf. On the left-hand side, can you do the same thing for requirement and display what the requirement capabilities are?
Okay, let me go back to the description you provided before to see if I'm right. So, do you want it to okay?
Because you see, there is a netconf connectivity, right? Capability of netconf. Node is VNF netconf
You-
device. So that capability of
Your
netconf
voice is
can be
just-
displayed.
I'm losing your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear.
Yeah, sorry for the noise. My kids are at home.
No problem.
So you see how it says requirements, right? Netconf connection,
No,
capability of netconf.
I think the connection is not stable.
Okay, give me 1 minute.
Sorry, Judy. Yeah, it's good now.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, you see how it says requirements, netconf connection, right?
Judy?
Capability of netconf. Node is VNF netconf device and relationship, right?
This one?
So what I'm trying to say is that the requirements of capability is what, what we want to showcase. You see there's the requirements of capability of netconf. You can also display that in how you display it on the left-hand side.
Okay, so do you want to add another row with the requirement below this component, like we made in that component that we have that has the capabilities?
Yes, so because on the right-hand side, you display what the capability name is, right? On the left-hand side, you should also, for the left-hand side components, you should also display the capability. Like
So
you did.
in our here, let me get back to the example. So in our case, we wanted to add, I don't get it from the here, this one. So do you want to add the NF connection?
No. So I want to add the capability of netconf. So you see how we have a capability?
Yes.
Okay, that capability needs to be
This one?
represented. Right now, you don't represent this for your netconf executor. So go to the other screen.
Okay.
Okay, you see right now you have NF account collection, right?
Yes.
I want NF account collection to also represent what capability it supports, like you do on the right-hand side for netconf device. You have netconf and restconf as the capability, right?
Yes.
On the left-hand side, you should have also the capability box of netconf and restconf. And the connection should be from from those requirements to these capabilities.
But Aren't we duplicating the info?
That's what it's supposed to be. It's a linkage between the requirement and and the capability itself. But it's a one-to-one linkage. So it's supposed to say netconf to netconf or resconf to resconf. It's not a duplication.
I think
Because
we need, yeah.
if you have, let's say, two capabilities, how do you know which one you want to connect to?
You mean that if I require two capabilities? But that's how I am linking to. This is for the NF account. It requires the netconf and the resconf. So I am from the NetF account collection. I am linking and making the relationship for netconf and resconf.
No, it should be one or the other. So they should do it. It shouldn't be like the component. It has to be from a capability perspective. You know what I'm trying to say? The linkage should not be from the component level. It has to be at the capability level.
So you want, let me draw it. Maybe let's add another one. So so we have this is our component, and this it depends on the capabilities of this component. Am I right?
Right, so these are the two functions. Each of these functions have capability representation.
Okay.
So
The
the way you captured the capability, can you capture that here, like netconf and resconf, for both of these components?
okay. Okay. The NF
Okay, and
accounts.
put this under the grouping of capabilities. Or put this under the grouping of requirements.
Okay, so we're defining the requirement with the blue color, like this one, and that's one.
Okay, because your component can also have a requirement, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that a component can have both a requirement and a capability, okay? So there should be, what I want you to capture is that this component here also has some capability. So can you capture another grouping of red on NF account collection, let's say?
Sorry, Yuri. Another grouping of what?
Of red.
From these?
Yes, in NF account collection, capture a grouping of red and put it on the NF
NF
account
account
collection.
collection?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the first grouping is capability. capabilities. And what we're doing is we're linking the capabilities to, we're linking requirements to the capabilities on the right. The second grouping is capabilities. So those capabilities can be attached to another functions that has these set of requirements. So Sarah, let me just show you one thing. Hold on one second.
Yeah, please.
Okay, do you see this?
Yes.
You see, this is your component, right? Your component has capabilities. Container is mapped to a requirement, or it has a requirement. Container host DB server is mapped to this DB server, okay?
Yeah, I
So
see.
I want to make sure that we capture the grouping of capabilities
Yes.
and requirements within a component.
Okay, I see. Just the example we have, I don't think that it has both of
No, it does
components.
not. It doesn't have
Okay.
it. But
Yeah.
this is what we need to do. Meaning that what we're building is going to be generic, okay?
Yes, I see.
So you can use this as the example itself. Okay, this is what we want. You see how even the connection to, you see how it's hosted on?
Yeah.
Okay? That representation you should also do.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you can redesign it based on this example, okay, this will be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see the workflows we captured, okay? You see this here? Create is the workflow. Properties is what we captured in the function attributes, okay?
But we are already on the workflow.
Yeah, forget about the workflow. Workflow, we're doing fine. The main thing is just this view, how the capabilities and requirements are connected to, okay?
Yeah, I see.
So I would like this representation.
Mhm.
And what you can do is allow, if it's the connection to representation should be here,
Mhm.
okay? Because right now
So
when
we
you
are
connect
defining
them, I don't know how it's connected on. Is it host on, dependent on? You should be able to view that as a separate box.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you this link.
Okay.
Okay, you can take over presentation. So Sarah, we have 2 more minutes. I have another call. If we can, do you wanna share anything else?
Yeah, we are on the final screen. So.
Okay.
Okay, so we are done with the screen, but just some changes. So I just create some changes of the view scripting. So I've added, I kept the action appear as long as we don't have any other option or any other workflow template. So we will have only.
So, and this one, it's complete editor. You don't need to capture the actions. I
So
believe.
in case of I think of here you can switch between the actions to but in the scripting view.
Right, but what are you going to do with the actions here?
This is the current action. I'm seeing the script of it, and I can switch between the actions.
Oh, you're saying, but this is all right. Let's discuss this. I don't think this is necessary, but let's discuss it maybe some other time.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, very good.
I'll make the changes, and I think we can discuss it once it's.
Yeah, can you capture that note so we can discuss it? Maybe we can connect tomorrow. We can discuss that one. I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. Just send me the recorded video.
Yes, I will do that. I'll send it within an hour or so. Let me stop the recording now.